see him. It's, what is his name? Juan DeSanto, not Dr. Juan DeSanto, as Ron Neimi likes to call him. 555, a lesser evil. And he's going to be wrestling our very own referee, the mullet, Richie Rich. And hear me on guest commentary, a former referee in his own right. He's the new commissioner, Honest Eddie Edwards.
As a former referee, I'm proud of Richie Rich. You know, he's taken it to the next level here against Juan DeSanto. This is a tremendous match.
There you see Richie Rich all jacked up. Fans, you've seen it here on TV before. Oh, look at that, the nice athletic hop in the ring. Richie Rich got into it with Juan DeSanto before in his feud with Dr. Harris. He gave him a couple of stunners. Crowd went absolutely nuts. And the bookers here in IPW said, hey, we got a money match. We got to book this right away. They throw Richie Rich into the fire. But what people don't realize, Richie Rich is trained to be a wrestler in the past. No, he didn't finish. He blew out his knee. But he knows a little bit more about what he's doing in the ring than people think. And look at Jim Bragg turning his back on the mullet, trying to say he pulled Juan DeSanto's hair.
Fear the mullet. He started out there strong, did Richie Rich, and Juan DeSanto might have taken Richie Rich a little too lightly. We'll see later in this encounter.
I tell you what, you would think he wouldn't after the stunners that he was given by Richie Rich before, making him lose that blow-off match in his feud with his former partner, Dr. Heresy. But he does seem to be taking him a little bit lightly. Maybe deep inside he's not, but he doesn't want to show that he's taking this guy seriously. He's a wrestler. They don't want to show any fear of a referee, so he's going to come out there and not show it. But he shows, once again, Richie Rich can go. A nice side headlock takedown there by Richie Rich, slowing the pace of the match down. Very smart for the guy who's not the wrestler, trying to get his head together, trying to get a win here in IPW.
Absolutely. The fans are solidly behind Richie Rich. Everyone fears the mullet, as his t-shirt says. And
actually, it just says the mullet because his hair covers up the rest. I tell you what, ever since Mike Awesome cut his hair, there's been no doubt who the true mullet in professional wrestling is, Richie Rich. He's got his Richie's rats at ringside each and every week. And look, he's just laying the chops into Juan DeSanto, a la a Mike Sullivan or an AJ Styles, who you see here doing those chops all the time in IPW. This referee learned from the best, and he's taking it out on Juan DeSanto. But Juan DeSanto turning the tables now, punching him in the face and now choking him. Look, he can't even play by the rules when he's in there against a referee, Eddie Edwards.
Jim Bragg's got to get in there, and he's got to be more. He's got to lay the law down. You know, it's Richie Rich. You know, it's one of his own. It's another referee. Jim Bragg has to be more assertive.
I agree with you, Eddie Edwards. That's one thing you have to say, whether you liked you or didn't like you when you were a referee. Hello, miss walking by. Sorry. You were very, very assertive in the ring. A lot of times you would help Ron Neimi and his crew win by, my favorite word, nefarious measures. But you are the commissioner of IPW now. You've turned your act around, and you're more than qualified to call this match and talk about Richie Rich, Jim Bragg, or anybody else here in IPW.
Here goes DeSanto, and he misses that tremendous moonsault. Yeah, what a bump.
Once again, underestimating the abilities of Richie Rich to get out of the way. And I'm pretty impressed with Richie Rich. I knew he had the wrestling background, but I thought going against a guy like Juan DeSanto, it might be all over by now, but he's hanging in there.
There's a nice vertical suplex. He got him over, and DeSanto's not to your average sized competitor.
No, he weighs in about 320 pounds. He doesn't look like it, but trust me, each and every week when I'm doing the cards for Shannon Rose, because he can't read his own writing, I find out that he's 320, and what we almost had was a 3 count right there by Richie Rich. Juan DeSanto has to be getting a little bit embarrassed right now.
He should be embarrassed. He's getting taken to school by referee Richie Rich. Fear the mullet.
I tell you what, everything you ever did in the ring, Eddie, we never saw you get in the ring and wrestle a match like this. You've got to give props to Richie Rich for having no fear and going in there against this guy.
Oh, and there goes Jim
What is
Bragg.
up with Jim Bragg? It's like he just likes to bump as a referee, doesn't he?
And Richie Rich has got the sleeper hold on him now, and DeSanto is going down.
Okay, what shades of Mike Rotunda there with the sleeper hold. Next he's going to go into an airplane spin, and I'm just going to mark out and have to get out of here.
I'm right behind you.
All right, there you see. But with our flashy editing here by the truck, we go to another part of the match.
Is that a pair of brass knucks again?
Yeah, I tell you couldn't see it there, but once again, we had a pair of brass knucks coming into play here in IPW. 1, 2, no, Richie Rich kicks out. I didn't think he was kicking out. You were back in the back with me, Eddie. You didn't think he was kicking out. We thought, good job, but it's finally over. But this guy's showing some toughness.
I thought that was the finish of the match right there. But Richie Rich showed testicular fortitude, so they say, and kicked out of the brass knucks.
Yes, he did. You got to figure he's probably not going to be able to last that much longer. He's reeling right now. Oh, look, another ref bump by gentleman Jim Bragg. And for a guy who's 107 years old, he takes a beating in the ring.
I thought he was 141, but that's besides.
No, he was just lying to get into the clubs.
Nice spine buster there.
Yeah, very nice spine buster by Juan DeSanto. This is one of the cases where he has to be sorry he hit the referee. He could probably get the 3 count. And what's going on here? Old school angle going on right here. Puts the brass knuckles on Richie Rich. Looks like he doesn't even think he can pin this guy.
just slid the brass knuckles on him and
Tell you, people were confused, but if you saw old NWA wrestling, you know exactly what's going on here. 1, 2, 3. Right now, fans, as you know, this is a recap. This has already happened. It looks like your winner of the match is Richie Rich, but look at the chicanery going on from a guy like Juan DeSanto here. You would think he would just try to beat this guy, but instead he has to go trickery to try to win the match. And here's what I'm talking about. Jim Bragg raises his arm, sees the brass knuckles, and in just a second, he has no choice, Eddie. He has to call for the DQ.
He has to turn against one of his own referees. He sees the brass knucks that DeSanto slid on his fingers.
You can tell he doesn't want to do it right there. He's talking to Rich. Richie's saying, I didn't do it, but when you're the referee and you see the knuckles in his hand, like you said, Eddie, you have no choice. You have to go with what's right in front of you.
He has to, and he calls for the disqualification, and Bragg is going to go up and raise the hand of DeSanto.
That is unfortunate, but your winner of this match is Juan DeSanto. He may not have been able to win his last match against Dr. Heresy. He got stunned by Richie Rich a couple times, but he gets his revenge right here.
DeSanto is proud of himself that he can outsmart a referee, not even a wrestler, an active wrestler on the IPW roster, and DeSanto is proud and laughs.
Well, look, he's actually sitting there. He actually fooled both referees, if you want to get down to it. And I tell you, I don't want to blame the referees here. Jim Bragg couldn't see what was going on. He took his 15th bump of the night. Richie Rich couldn't see what was going on. He was laid out. Quite frankly, as much as I hate to say it, Richie Rich could have been pinned. And here you see Mark Zout coming in as Richie Rich. I thought he was doing Positively Canyon with that wig, but he's obviously trying to be Richie Rich. And there you see the Hamburglar, the Mud Baby Star Stevens.
They're explaining to him what's going down. They want it to be set straight.
They saw what happened in the back room, and fans, we've seen this. But look at this, Three Stooges type of material right here. All the referees.
The Mud Baby, Richie Rich.
They're just knocking Juan DeSanto around. You got to give this guy credit.
Jim Bragg with the elbow.
Here he goes, stunner. And fans, I promise you, Richie Rich doing the stunner. Shannon Rose will eventually do the Geek's elbow.
2, 3.
There you go, the visual pinfall by Richie Rich. Eddie, I thank you for joining me. Fans, we'll be back with more guest commentary in just a moment on Weekly Recap.